Now sports with sports director Paul Gerke.
In what is probably his magnum opus, LL Cool J began the track "Mama Said Knock You Out" with the classic line, "Don't call it a comeback." What does this have to do with sports? Well, not much, but despite what LL tells you, the Hawks' rally last night can definitely be called a comeback.
I was just telling them that you and I are very close friends. You've cried in front of me and you. We talk every Monday.
Yes.
I mostly listen, because I'm a good friend. It's wonderful to see you.
Yes, you too, Ron.
The Boise State football team seems pretty happy to be here in Seattle, and it's not just because of this giant statue of a man with a hammer. Over the course of 8 months leading up to the Boise State-Washington opener, the Broncos tried to downplay the importance of a rematch of last year's Mako Bowl. And Saturday night, we found out why. California and Idaho are two of the country's top 2 dairy-producing states, so why not milk that fact for all it's worth? That's what the Bronco and Bulldog Dairy Boosters did in 2005 for the first milk can game. In yesterday's press conference, Coach Pete read the minds of all of Bronco Nation when he said that this year has had a different feel to it. As odd as it's been without the high-scoring affairs of Broncos past, some things have stayed the same, like a postseason win in Las Vegas.
Ribs. I had ribs for lunch. That's why I'm doing this. Oh, hello there. The Associated Press released its preseason basketball poll today, and Boise State is not on it. 60 rally car drivers from all across the country are racing in Idaho City this weekend. Before the tires officially hit the gravel, however, Idaho Rally International was kind enough to offer a ride-along preview of the course, so I decided to risk life and limb for a chance to see the stage firsthand.
36 miles northeast of Boise, nestled in the mountains along Highway 21, lies Idaho City, population 484. There's something to be said for small-town living, the familiarity with one's neighbors, the simplicity, the peace and quiet. Well, maybe not so much. This weekend, Idaho City will host a stage of the United States Rally Championship. In preparation for the event, 3 drivers offered ride-alongs on the gravel course in the Boise National Forest. My driver, Dick Rockroar, the director of the Idaho Rally Group. Dick used to race motorcycles, but then...
Yeah, I got old. It's easier to go fast and not be as in good a shape as it is on a bike.
Dick told me he'd topped over 120 miles per hour in previous races.
I left my wallet in the car so they can't identify my corpse.
After he graciously helped me put on my helmet, I began to prepare for my inevitable dirt track death.
Dick just said he hasn't rolled this car.
Well, if you keep it on the road, you don't see much damage at all. But if you run it off, there's trees and rocks and all those good things.
The passenger harness in Dick's car is custom built, and not custom built for me.
That's gonna be a nice tight squeeze.
Yeah, well, you're slightly bigger than my wife. Her.
I'm gonna be a lady by the time I get out of here.
For the first 30 seconds of the ride, I felt like there was a significant chance of sustaining serious bodily harm. I did eventually get comfortable, about as comfortable as one can be wearing a tight harness and knowing there's a good reason for the fire extinguisher under your seat. And then, just like that, the ride was over. It only lasted a couple of minutes, but the terror Mr. Rockroar instilled in me will last a lifetime.
How many times have you run that course?
I've just driven it with a regular car.
Back live at Bulldog Stadium here in Fresno, we're less than 24 hours away from kickoff between Boise State and Fresno State. This will be Derek Carr's 3rd attempt at beating Boise State as a starting quarterback here for the Bulldogs. He and Coach Peterson have developed a sort of special relationship, despite the fact that they hang out on opposite sidelines.
He's one of the better quarterbacks in the country, without question.
He's one of the best coaches, to ever, be around in college football.
In another universe, perhaps Carr and Peterson could have taken that mutual respect to another level by teaming up. Fresno State was one of 3 schools to offer Carr a scholarship in his junior year of high school. Boise State was not, but that doesn't mean Pete wasn't interested.
He was in Texas as a junior when we were looking at him, and then he transferred, and then he chose Fresno. It's pretty strong bloodlines there, but we did look at him, and we knew about him and thought he was a heck of a player in high school.
Coach Peterson knows that I have the most respect for him because I've talked to him. I've talked to him a whole bunch. I have the most respect for him. I root for you guys. I really do, except that one time a year. I can't stand you guys. I hate the color blue that day.
Instead of playing for the Broncos, Carr has spent his collegiate career being tormented by them.
I hate losing. No matter what it is, I won't even let my wife beat me at anything. I hate losing, but when they came back to the conference, I was happy. I was happy, and I saw the schedule. I was like, yeah, I get another shot at them.
Despite never beating Boise State, Carr said Bronco Nation has always treated him with respect.
Yeah! You guys as fans are always awesome. You guys as fans are always so nice to me. Your community is always so sweet to me and to my family. It means the world to me that you guys are always so nice to us. Now that my grandmother remarried, we got some family in Idaho now, so I'm kind of torn now. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
It's easy to take basic motor function for granted. In nearly every sports highlight, we assume an athlete's ability to utilize fully functioning arms and legs, but not every competitor has that luxury. And that's where murder ball comes in. The sport, commonly known as wheelchair rugby, is fast, furious, and full contact, attracting both able-bodied and disabled athletes here in the Valley.
I crashed my mountain bike in 2007, broke my neck at C6 level.
In an instant, Spencer Larimore went from an active, able-bodied athlete to one limited by injury.
There really isn't an outlet. I tried to play basketball, but I don't have enough tricep to shoot a basket.
But when he was coming out of rehab, Spencer stumbled upon a movie that would change his life, Murder Ball.
You can't really market Murder Ball to corporate sponsors.
A 2005 documentary centered on quadriplegic athletes who play wheelchair rugby.
And I was like, dang, that's really cool. But there wasn't anybody in Boise involved in it. There weren't enough quadriplegics. Softball league around town, you have 15 teams to play with. We don't have that option.
So Spencer did all he could to bring wheelchair rugby to the City of Trees. With help from Boise Parks and Recreation, Larimore helped found the Boise Bombers, a team that competes nationally in the U.S. Quad Rugby Association.
This is a full contact, fast and fun sport. And you just hear the sound, it's loud, crash bangs, people falling on the floor. It's great.
The goal of wheelchair rugby is to advance a volleyball from one side of a regulation-sized basketball court to another. The game is played 4-on-4 and isn't confined to quadriplegics. Spencer and his Bomber teammates split up for a summer rec league, captaining teams of amputees and completely able-bodied players.
When I lost my leg in 2008, it was a shock. It wasn't something I was planning, but I almost think it's a blessing.
Kevin Falk is not a quadriplegic, so he can't play for the Bombers, but he's learned to love the sport thanks to the Thursday Night League at Fort Boise, where Falk is cheered on by his wife and grandson.
I started off with basketball and then went into rugby, and now I'm playing tennis, so I play more sports now than I do with one leg than I did with two legs.
You get a sense of camaraderie with other people that have the similar disabilities. You learn a lot from each other, everyday things. When they get off the court, they kind of have this sense that they're not different.
If you want to check these guys out, the Fort Boise Rec League will take this Thursday off for the 4th of July and wrap up its season with the playoffs following the week of the 11th.
Now sports with Sports Director Paul Gerke.
Boise State's Friday night affair cast the local high school football schedule into disarray. This week we had Friday night lights on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. You don't hear me complaining though. Two major matchups this afternoon will start at Donna Larson Park. Timberline versus Mountain View. Kai Turner leads the Mavs to the promised land first. Turner puts it up for Kenny Webster. Oh my God, you killed Kenny! Quite the opposite, actually. A touchdown catch for Webster. Mountain View leads 6-0. Timberline would answer with a long drive that ate up the rest of the first quarter. Tyus Zimmerman rumbles ahead for a first down and then some. And check this out, maybe the most athletic play I've seen all season. Wolves QB Michael Stefanik doing his best Johnny Football impression, breaking tackles, breaking ankles, and getting down into the red zone. And a few plays later, one of his offensive linemen gets all the credit. Those big guys always taking all the credit. Number 72, Jake Templeton, plows over the goal line. I, for one, would like to see more carries by O-linemen. Despite that score, Mountain View goes on to win 37-21. Off to Bishop Kelly like two ships passing in the night or in a night costume. BK leading Jerome 14-7 in the second. Looking for more, Matt Mello, the third most famous Mello, behind Carmelo Anthony in the delicious Mello Yellow Soda. Where I'm from, we call it Pop. Mello runs it in to make it 21-7. A little later, Turner Simmons back to return a punt for the Knights.
He makes the Jerome special teams unit look foolish for about 20 seconds, reversing field and taking it all the way to the end zone, but an illegal block brought the play back. No worries, he would return another kick for a TD later in the game, but before we could do that, Bowen Ogata has got to put his name in the box score. A 22-yard strike to Vincent Galindo. Bishop Kelly rolls over Jerome 56-22. Hey, Joe Southwick haters, I must ask you a question. Was Joe's performance against Air Force the most efficient display of quarterbacking in Boise State history? Statistically speaking, it was. Not Ryan Dinwiddie, nor Jared Sabransky, not even the infallible Kellen Moore could accomplish what Southwick managed last night. Joe was 27 for 29 against the Falcons, recording a completion percentage of 93.1%, smashing Zabransky's 21 for 23 record showing from 2006. Southwick threw for 287 yards, ran for 53, and accounted for 2 touchdowns. His execution of the Broncos' new modified spread offense led Coach Peterson to say he may trust Joe with more option plays down the road.
Joe's a good player. Joe's an excellent player. And I've said this, I said it last year. And going into this year, he's as smart as any quarterback that we've had since I've been here. He was in a good groove. The thing I thought he took the next step with was when he took off with his, he just didn't hesitate to run, and he got some really big yards.
Another guy who tore up some turf, Jay Ajayi. He set career highs with 125 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns. Thanks to ESPN's cameras, he may be best remembered for drinking pickle juice. But Jay and Coach Pete spent more time thinking about Ajayi's pair of fumbles that nearly got him benched.
It was a great night. At the same time, though, those fumbles, they were unacceptable, and but at the same time, it was a learning experience, too.
I will say this. If he does it again, though, we got a bunch of other backs, and he won't come back. You better hang on to that football. That's game-changing.
Let's head north to the Kibbe Dome. The Vandals hosting Northern Illinois. Idaho led 28-21 at half. Did you hear that? I said Idaho led. It was 28 apiece in the third when Jordan Lynch goes on an extended jaunt through U of I's defense. Stop if you see something you like. 61 yards to pay dirt, 35-28 Huskies. But the Vandals answer the bell early in the fourth. James Baker punches in his second TD of the afternoon to make it 35 up. But NIU would score the next 10, including a 51-yard field goal off the toe of Matthew Sims. Northern Illinois survives Idaho 45-35. Lynch accounts for over 300 yards of offense and 5 total TDs. The Vandals now 0-3 under Paul Petrino. The Wolfpack on the hunt for a huge upset of number 10 Florida State. Nevada takes a 7-3 lead in the second as backup QB Devin Combs connects with Brandon Wimberly. But the Seminoles would rip off 59 unanswered points. Jameis Winston to Kenny Shaw. Call it a Shawshank redemption. FSU rolls 62-7. Wolfpack starter Cody Fajardo should be back for next week's game against Hawaii. Over at Oregon, highlighters come free with tuition. And apparently the Ducks have been using them to draw all over themselves. Look at those uniforms. Works for him, though. Ducky starter Marcus Mariota threw for 456 yards and 4 TDs. 4 different rushers also found the end zone. Oregon blows out Tennessee 59-14. Finally, maybe the game of the day, maybe the game of the season. Number 1 Alabama at number 6 Texas A&M. Johnny Manziel was his signature self. Get it? Signature? 464 yards passing, 98 yards rushing, 5 touchdowns. He also threw 2 picks. This one snagged by Vinny Sunseri and returned 73 yards to the crib. 35-14 Crimson Tide. But back comes Johnny Football. How much value does a 95-yard touchdown pass add to his autograph? Mike Evans does all the legwork. This makes it a 7-point game. But A.J. McCarron and company, just too much. The Tide fall on an onside kick in the closing seconds to ice it. Alabama sends College Station home unhappy with a 49-42 win.
I saw the tweet that said that he probably won himself a Heisman today, but Alabama's probably rolling towards a national championship.
I'm tired of Alabama winning national championships, you know?
Do something about it.
I will. I'm going to go suit up and put a stop to this run.